Welcome to Catharos Online. In this video, I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about microchurches. We feel microchurches are what set us apart and kind of make us uniquely different than most ministries I think that we've been around, or maybe you've been around. Microchurches are not new to us. In fact, microchurches have been going on since the first century of Jesus, right? Acts 2 is a great example of what microchurches can do and the power of them. So I wanted to take a moment and just kind of go into a little bit of detail of what microchurches do, how they operate, explain some of the terminology that we use. But ultimately, I would encourage you either two things. Just show up, meet myself, meet my wife Becca, one of our leaders, and we can describe to you more in depth about how a microchurch operates. We can even show you what a microchurch, the capacity and how it operates and functions. But you can also visit catharosnetwork.org for more info as well on microchurches. So microchurch, we feel this is the expression of God fully displayed. As I've mentioned before, there's three kind of key things that we feel every microchurch has to have. And so we look at this circle and you can kind of divide it up into three sections. The first one is worship, the second one is community, and the third one is mission. Each one we feel has to be present in a microchurch. Now why? Why do we feel about these three things only? These three things are what we consider the ecclesia minimum, right? So when these three things are present in a microchurch, we really feel, man, that this microchurch is growing, they're blossoming in their faith, but we don't want to limit it to those three, but we feel these are important. Worship is more than just someone on a guitar, right? It's more than just kind of a song being sung, maybe from a stage, from a platform, from a living room. Worship truly is a lifestyle. It is our heartbeat, it's our connection to God. It's what really we feel worship is more than just what we've kind of confined it to here in the West. This is something a lot of times we have to kind of reformat our minds to think differently about worship, because I think for all of us, we instantly hear the word worship and we're like, oh, it's music. And worship is not just music. Worship is definitely a lifestyle. It is a heart posture. It is taking this beautiful expression of God into the world and showing them what worship means to worship an all-powerful, all-amazing God. The second one is community. Community is not just let's kind of join together for a Bible study small group. Community is engaging with people wherever they're at, whatever walk of life they're on, and really kind of getting into their story and allowing their story to blossom. I think each one of us are uniquely different. Each one of us have an amazing story to tell. And so in community, we feel community is that kind of place where we function together. And then lastly, mission. I can just say this, mission is not defined just to one organization. Each one of us have a specific mission. Each one of us have a specific calling that is uniquely different for each one of us, right? It's beautiful. This is, if you could think of like this master puzzle piece, these are those puzzle pieces which represent me and you being put together to form this beautiful creation, right? So when I say, no, listen, you're only limited to this mission, I am doing you an injustice and limiting you, because God ultimately has this beautiful plan for your life. So we call this the ecclesia minimum, right? The three things that we feel need to be present in every microchurch. Now there's two words that we kind of refer to when we talk about microchurches. The first word is modelic. Modelic is a space that is safe. It is intended for believers. It is where worship happens as you know it, like with music, with just crying out to God in prayer, the prophetic's going on. It's a very safe shepherding space. The second is sodelic. A sodelic space is adventurous. It is where the mission of God finally meets the pavement and starts rolling, right? This is oh man, I'm going to launch out. Maybe I'm going to go meet a person on the corner of the road who has no idea who Jesus is, what the gospel is. We feel in every microchurch, these two things need to be present. And here's why. for the microchurch leader themselves, you need a modelic space. You need a place of safety. For us at Catharos, that space is house church. It's where our microchurch leaders come together. They worship together, they pray together in that space. There's community, there's a meal. It's very safe, it's a very shepherding space. But we also feel for every microchurch, there needs to be this sodelic space that they launch out into and bring the gospel into unknown regions, right? This is maybe the ladies who go into the strip club dressing room and they're there to minister to those strippers in a unique and passionate way, right? This is maybe that person who goes into the foster care home and they're ministering to the foster care parents in a unique, different way. Now, would we be able to take modelic space and kind of take it into a sodelic space? The answer is simply no. And here's why. Those people in the sodelic space really don't have context for what we're trying to accomplish in the modelic space. And so we feel that both these things need to be present. They have to be present. Why? Because sodelic engages the mission, where the modelic space engages the worship and engages the community. Ultimately, here's what I want to say about microchurches. Microchurches are uniquely different for every single person. So here at Catharos, we don't like to limit people. We don't want to put this box around people that kind of holds them and restrains them. We want them to discern, right? We are very much about discerning around here. So you'll hear that word around a lot around here when you join in our spaces. We feel you need to hear and discern the voice of God specifically for your life, because it's so crucial in that time of discerning that you're hearing the calling of God to be able to launch out with your microchurch. And so I hope this video maybe gave you a little bit more info about how our microchurches operate, why they're uniquely different. Here's one thing I want to say. Microchurches are not your typical small group. They're not your typical home church. Microchurches are their own unique organism. They're organizations within themselves. They're uniquely different and they're powerful in their own way. And so, man, I would love for you, if you want more info about microchurch, like I said, simply visit catharosnetwork.org, or you could even reach out to one of us as well.